Be bold. Be heard. Welcome to Unmute Your Mic with your host, Jessica Bell. The views, information, or opinions expressed during the podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of Unmute Your Mic.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Unmute Your Mic. My name is Jessica Bell. I am your host from Kansas City, Missouri. And today I have Matteo with me. He is currently in Canada. Matteo, I want to thank you so much for agreeing to be on my platform. If you could just take a moment to introduce yourself and let us know a little bit about you.
Yes, Jessica. So my name is Matteo Esposito. I am a autistic playwright and set designer from Oakville, Ontario, Canada, and I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much again. And so I know that you mentioned, like you said, that you are a playwright. So
Right,
can you tell
right.
us a little bit about that and how you got started?
Absolutely. So as a playwright, I write plays about autism and other things. My recent play, Sorting It Out, which is about somebody's ignorance to understand autism and the consequences that follow. It's actually getting performed, hopefully, and this is a whole off Broadway in the fall. So, and it's about somebody's ignorance to understand disability and the consequences that follow. The play basically is an honest depiction of autism, and it's 4 characters. One is ignorant, and one is autistic, and there's 2 associated characters. And the play basically comes out. I don't want to give too much away, but it's a really, really beautiful piece. And basically, it talks about ignorance and autism and all its different forms. So yeah, that's just a little bit of what my current play is about that I'm trying to promote and everything. Yeah.
And so what made you decide to write it? What was the heart behind it?
It's based on a true story, actually. A story that happened to me many years ago, and I was actually on a transit bus, Route 13, and this guy bluntly turned around, and he was ignorant to me. And he didn't. And by the time he walked off, I believe he was so upset and annoyed with me that he didn't even say thank you to the bus driver. And in Canada, we are very polite here. But I don't think that he was very polite to anybody on the bus, especially me and the bus driver. And he looked in business attire, And to me, that's the basis of Ed, which is a character, Edwin Jackson, who's the basis of the ignorant character in the play. I don't want to say what he goes through or what he does and everything, because it's kind of heartbreaking, but by the end, there's a plot twist and everything, but just to keep it general. But yeah, it's based on a true story, and I saw this invisible character in front of me, and that was Ed. So this invisible person was pointing at me saying "you," and I thought I had to take responsibility as an autistic playwright, and as an autistic person myself. So you know what? I'm going to write a story about that, and I think it paid off. Well, it's going to off Broadway, so I think it did pay off. So yeah, it's great. It's great. I love it. I love it.
And I love that you decided to use something that you experienced in your real life
Yeah,
in order
yeah.
to tell a story. Because though it may have been, heartbreaking in the moment, you're now going to use it to inform other people. And so,
Yes.
I wanted to ask you about that. What are some other experiences that maybe you've had being autistic that you've
Right.
kind of had to navigate and make your own?
Well, going back to when I was a kid, high school, I'll give you that. People say that and not to put down anybody here, but I really didn't like my high school journey. And I'll just be vague. I was in special ed, in high school, which is the kind of unique for a high functioning kid. And they said basically, no, you can't do this, you can't do that. And I hear no all the time. So basically, I had to basically I had to believe that I could do this as a career, and basically created not only a play but my life, and basically pick the pieces off the ground and say, you know what, I want to do better. I can do better than being spec ed, and being, and I can do better. So I think that's, so high school was tough. It was a tough experience. Also, life is tough. Like, I have anxiety, I have depression, I have all this stuff. Like, I get depressed a lot about what life is going to be like 15, 20 years from now as an autistic person. And I think that honesty is, to me, never changed people. People sometimes like honesty, people sometimes hate honesty. I'm being honest with you. And I think the worst part is that 50 years from now, not even 50, like 25, 30 years ago, not years ago, sorry, from now, um, it's the question of where will I be, and where will, like, and to be honest with you, I know this is a big surprise for the people who think autistic can end at 18, but autistic people cannot end at 18. We are adults going through life's journey until we pass away. So us autistics are here to stay, of course, and all disability, like, people are here to stay. But the sad part is that people, like, there are a lack of resources, there are a lack of supports for autistic people and everything, and that to me is sad. Like, as an autistic playwright, I get, like, I get, I don't want to say this, but I get, like, shocked that people like the play and say thank you for your honesty, because in my play is what happens in real life. The ignorance, the hypocrisy, the racism a bit. I would say ignorance, not racism, but it's kind of under the same umbrella. And the idea is to have a play that can really elevate that can really teach people this is what it's like to be an autistic person. And actually, in the play, he's 50. Nick Kinderwood, who has autism, is 50. He has a job. And of course, for the people who don't believe that we can get a job, that's totally wrong. And the reason that is totally wrong is because there's these ignorant people out there that say you're autistic, we don't want to hire you. Hire us. We might change your life. And that's just what I have to say. Yeah.
You stay encouraged.
Pardon?
How do you stay encouraged with the struggles and with people who are ignorant to,
Yeah.
just your life? How do you stay encouraged to keep moving on and to keep creating and to keep raising awareness?
That's a good question. I think life gives you challenges, but it also gives you rewards. Like, in my opinion, you know, it's just this feeling to keep on going. How can you get knocked down and then to keep on moving forward? I don't want to quote unquote Rocky, the movie with Rocky Balboa, but there's a big speech, and I believe the with his son. And he says, life is not always sunshine and rainbows. It's a real hard place, and I don't know how, but it's about how you can get knocked down and get back up. And I think not only Rocky, but in life, people forget. People forget that that how to basically believe in themselves, how to work hard, how to achieve their dreams. People forget that a lot. Like, people forget about all that. And the thing is, staying encouraged is the best thing. Being encouraged is another thing. Being encouraged, if you have somebody encouraging you, then you can encourage yourself to move forward. That's what I think.
No, that's great. And I think that's really important, like you said. And
Yeah,
I love that movie. So I love that you use that reference.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah,
it's really important to
yeah.
know that, like, there are going to be situations that do
Right?
knock us down and that everything is
Yeah,
not going to come easy. And it is up to us to decide, hey, we're going to take we're going through or the cards we've been dealt, and we're going to
Yeah.
keep pushing. And I believe that you're going to inspire people because you are doing that, and you're
Thank you.
not just, throwing in the towel and saying that you're
No,
going to give up.
you're right.
And
Yeah.
so that leads me to
Thank you.
another question. So outside of your doing your playwright, are there anything else that you try to do to raise awareness?
To be honest with you, not at this time, because I like to do it through art, music, theater. Um, the arts are, to me, are a very important thing. And a lot of these high schools and colleges and universities want to take out art. And I don't like that. They rather get the math, English, science, and everything. And to me, that's a lot of crap, to be honest with you. Because I think that art is a way to express yourself. Art is a way to keep your hormones and all this alive, keep your creative spirit alive. If you take that away, you're taking the dreams of a child away. If that makes any sense. So yeah, if that makes any sense. Yeah.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And like you said, I
Hmm.
do think art is very important. I think it's healing. It is a way for us
Absolutely
to be
is.
able to
Absolutely.
express ourselves,
Hmm.
because sometimes we
Hmm.
can get out in art what we can't say, or get out, or maybe some people can draw, or some people can write, some people can sing, and it's a
Yeah.
way to really get out our feelings and our emotions,
Right.
in a way that also inspire other people, and so that we know that the stuff that we've dealt with or gone through is not for no reason, right?
Absolutely.
And so I think
Absolutely.
you're
Yeah.
right. I think that needs to most definitely be something that stays in schools
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
forever. I don't think that should be the thing
I
that gets
agree.
eliminated
Yes.
ever,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
um, because I think that it's really important.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
what is something that you think? What is a common misconception about people who are living with autism, and what would you want somebody to know um, about your life or about you?
That's a really good question. And I hope I have a good answer for this, but that we are humans. We're humans just like anybody else. We have emotion. We want friends. We want people to understand us. Just like people should understand neurotypicals. I was actually watching a video on racism today. It was a dramatization of racism. There was this Indian Muslim man and this white American man who was basically saying, "Hey, throw in the towel. This is my country. This is this and that." It was a reenactment of sorts, and then he became the businessman. So the Muslim man became the businessman of this corporation, which the ignorant guy was in. So just to give you a heads up, that guy became the new manager, and the Indian guy, didn't want to fire him, even though he was rude. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. So whether you're Muslim, whether you're black, whether you're white, whether you're Jewish, whether you're biopic or gay, queer, we are all humans. We all have the same emotions. We all have the same things. But one thing that I would love people to understand is like don't judge us. I would say don't judge us. Don't look at us funny, because if you look like there's a saying, if you point one finger, three are pointing back at you. If you look if you look at somebody who is doing a behavior, and I had this done by a lot by myself. I stim, which is an autistic trait. It's called stimulation. A lot of people do it, especially in the autism spectrum. I remember stimming, and this guy was singing at me, and stood and he looked away. That's ridiculous. That's called lack of education in this world. Lack of lack of it's appalling to me. It's disgusting that people have lack of education, that, no offense, the states, no offense, but some of the people in the states can be very, very ignorant and racist. And I don't want to go into that territory because I know it's very sensitive for a lot of people in America. But being in Canada, I get that too. Don't worry. But like I see it more in the U.S. And I love the U.S. You have Broadway, you have Vegas, you have Chicago, the best cities for entertainment. I want to work with you guys. But if we don't, as a society, if we don't get cohesive and become friends with one another, then this whole world, not just saying the U.S., this whole world will crack. The whole world will crack. And it's starting to crack so slowly, anyway.
It is. And I definitely agree with that. And I think you
Mm-hmm.
brought up an amazing point,
Thank you.
just about being human and us having to understand each other, because we all have differences. Like,
Right.
all of us have things that are different about us, maybe a little quirky. Some people might find it interesting. But we all, I think it is our job to learn how to navigate with other people and to
Right.
educate ourselves so that we're not looking at somebody as if they're less than or something is wrong, but just
Yeah.
simply that they're different. Um,
Yeah.
and I
Exactly.
think that's really important. And I'm glad
Thank
that
you.
you brought that up, because I think people who are listening need to know that nobody
Absolutely.
wants to be like, feel like they're being pushed aside just because they're different.
Right.
And like you had mentioned before, some of your experiences, like in school or people telling you no. And I
Right.
just want to let you know that it's really encouraging. I know, even just to me, to see somebody who has been told no so many times
I have.
continue to push forward.
Thank you.
And so, what do you think? What is your motivation? If you're just now tuning into this week's episode of Unmute Your Mic, my name is Jessica Bell. I'm your host, and today we are talking to Matteo from Canada, and we are talking about the play that he wrote about living with autism and just how to be different, how to embrace those around you who are different. So please continue to listen and be inspired.
Well, my motivation is everything around me. My motivation is my achievements. My motivation is basically, like I said, everything around me and my achievements. And I think every time I achieve something more, I get more confident. And I think that's the main thing I can tell you. Yeah.
No, that's great, and that's true too. It's like, as we conquer the giants in our lives, we get more
Hmm.
confident to say, "Hey, if I could do this, maybe let me try this. Let me try this other thing.
Exactly.
Let me
Exactly.
keep going."
Exactly.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
because a lot of us, when we're starting something, especially like you said, you're writing or you're doing a play, like that is not an easy task.
It's not
And you
exactly.
constantly always want to like go back and improve and make sure it's
Yeah.
great. Um,
Yeah.
which I think is really important. And you're
Hmm.
telling a story that needs to be told.
Thank you.
And I think we need to see things from other perspectives so that we
Absolutely.
can learn about them. Otherwise, how will we ever know? You know,
Exactly. Exactly.
and especially coming from somebody who is living it and walking through it themselves,
Hmm.
compared to somebody who doesn't really know what they're talking about, just trying to
Beautiful.
create a
Yeah.
story.
Exactly. Exactly. Beautiful.
And so, if you could
Yeah.
talk to the people who are listening today, and maybe talk to the person who is struggling a little bit and they want to be a writer or they want to be creative and they're struggling, what words would you say to them to encourage?
Good words. Believe in yourself. Again, three words. Believe in yourself.
And has that been easy for you to believe in yourself?
Be honest with you, I still struggle every day about it. But I tell people that because yes, we can believe it as a society, but we can also struggle as a society. You know what I mean?
And do you have people around you that help you believe in yourself? Is it more like self motivation?
I
How
have
are
a lot of,
you creating it?
yeah, sorry to interrupt. I have a lot of friends who have, helped me along the way. I have family who loves me and supports me. But yeah, it's friends that tell you, I believe in you, but you have to believe in you, if that makes any sense. Yeah.
That makes all the sense, because
Thank you.
it's great to have people around us who believe in us. It's great
Hmm.
to know that we have a support system, but at the end of the day, we have to be the one to take the first step,
Right. Right.
because the belief of
Yeah.
others help us, but
Right.
we have to be, we have to say, hey, I actually am going to do this. And I think that's
Right.
important. And if you could just talk to the person who's listening today, who maybe, if you could say something to the people who didn't believe in you and who told you you couldn't do what you've already accomplished, what would you say to them?
Look at me now. Look at me now. I'm doing what I love, you know. So look at me now. I don't want to be rude about it, but look at me now. You know, I'm on a roll, as they say. So, and I'm proud of that, you know. I'm not proud of that they a lot of people knocked me down in the past, but I'm proud that I'm creating new stuff and basically telling stories, like you said, that need to be told, Jessica. So it's really, really a blessing that, and lucky, fortunate blessing that people hear my story. Not my story. My story is my life, but the story of us special needs going forth. And, you know, it's a 30-minute gem of a place, tiny little gem of life. And if somebody would ask me, what with one word you could describe your play, and I'll say honest. And I have to go back to the play because, you know, it talks about all these different things actually. And not a lot of people know this, but there's a part where I stim on stage. I had to play Nick. I actually was the original Nick Kinderwood because the actor dropped out. That's a different story for a different day. But the actor dropped out, so I had to play Nick. So when I stemmed, I took a big breath and I said, "Here it goes," and I stemmed. But there's also a part that Ed, the ignorant gentleman, snatches the string away. "Give me that," he says. And that just goes to show all the EAs and all the people who don't like my stimming. And there's some people now that don't like it. I'll tell you something. Still a few people that want me to put it down and everything, which I don't get. And that's my tribute to them, saying this is how I felt the day that you did. You know what I mean? When you see something in front of you that where you see something in front of you that you see in real life, but you don't feel as if you get emotional, you know, like, wow, I feel bad. But that's how you did it to me. That's how you bluntly did it to me. So don't feel emotional. You should feel bad. Don't feel emotional for me, but you should feel bad. And I think that's, you know, that's the way I think. I don't know if that's arrogant, but not to be arrogant, but that's how I felt. The day that they said, put that away or in your pocket, away, or busted, whatever. I need to stem. It's a part of a behavioral of autism. That's ridiculous. Ridiculous. That's just a little one of the ignorant pieces in my play. And I think that's just a coincidence that I happened to put it in there. But it's really a blessing just to show these people what life is like for an autistic people when you take my freedom away. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and also like that goes back to what you said too about being educated,
Exactly.
because somebody has to be
Exactly.
educated and to know that, like, hey, this is something that's needed. It's not just a toy that you're playing with, or
Right, exactly.
like it's something. And
It's
so
not.
it's almost,
It
it's
helps me.
equivalent.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah,
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 it's
absolutely.
equivalent to somebody taking away something that I would need or that I use to calm me down in the moment.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
and and I think that's really important, like you said, that we have to be educated enough to say, hey,
Hmm.
what is this situation? What's really going on here? And not just
Right.
looking at it through the lens of, hey, stop that, that's not right. Um,
Exactly.
because I
Exactly.
think everything is not black and white in this world. There's
Exactly.
there's a lot of
We
gray areas. There's a lot of things that we don't understand,
exactly.
um,
Exactly.
and we'll never completely understand. And so it's important that we allow people to be able to express themselves, explain, and to have a heart that's open to receive and say, "Hey, this is a little different. Can you, explain this to me?"
Exactly.
And I
Exactly.
think
And
once, go ahead.
sorry, Jessica. And I just wanted to say there was a few neurotypical people, normal people who imitated my stimming, who imitated me at, I don't want to say where, but at some institutions and everything. And they laughed about it. To me, that's utter bullying and again, that's not right. I have to say that is not right. For a neurotypical who works at an institution with special needs, you should know better. And that's what happened to me. And like, and I don't want to go into details about it, but that hurt me dearly. And when I see my stuff self-esteem on a shadow, I get sad because I don't want to do it. I don't want to have to sim. I don't want to have special needs. And people like the person that did that to me, it makes me feel sad. Makes me feel, you know, sad and upset with this world. Like, why should you understand? Why should, like, why can't you understand? Not why should you understand? Why can't you understand? But some people don't. And some people get hired for, I hear, no offense, I hear lots of stories about things that do happen in institutions and everything. And I don't want to go into detail about all that, and it's pretty sad what they do. I call it backdoor business, because they come to the front door, but in the back door they do something hideous. I call it backdoor business, and that's not right. That's not right to make fun of special needs. That's not right of doing all that. To me, Jessica, and to me, to the whole world, please, please understand us. But not only understand us, understand that we all are different. We all have something. We all are different. Like, that's the message of today, and that will be the message for years to come, until this racism and ignorance things end. Sorry, but that's what I think.
No, that's, yeah, I don't even know how to respond to that, because that is so good and it's so
Thank
needed.
you.
Your
Yeah,
story is impactful. It is important,
thank you.
and I am honored to have you on my platform. Truly,
Well,
I
thank you.
am. Mateo, this has been a great conversation, and I just wanted
Thank
to
you.
let you know how truly amazing you are. To have the boldness and the heart to
Thank
be
you.
able to
Thank you.
speak, and you're not just speaking for yourself, but you're speaking for other people. Like,
Thank you.
your story is not just, getting your words out, but
Right.
it is helping other people be able to say, hey, I relate to him. Hey, I too go through that same thing. And I haven't had somebody to be able to be my voice. And I think that is what you are doing. You are being the voice. um, you are being the voice for a lot of people.
Thank you, Jessica. I appreciate that.
Hold on one second, let me add this one.
Jessica?
Okay, hello.
Hi, Jessica. Sorry.
Okay,
I'm
good.
here.
I'll
Sorry.
edit that out. No problem.
It's echoing. So,
Is it still echoing?
yeah, sorry about that. I'm super sorry about that.
One second. Is it echoing now?
It is. I'm sorry.
Do you have it on two platforms?
I think so.
Yeah, because your name is on there twice. Can you take one off?
Jessica, is that better?
Yes. Am I still echoing?
No,
Okay, perfect.
but I can hear my voice.
Okay, does it sound good now?
That's sorry. I'll
Perfect.
deal with it. Yeah.
Okay, good. Um, so I just wanted to say thank you again for being on my platform and using your voice to tell a story. I think that is extremely important, and that's one of the reasons why I created this platform, because I wanted to make sure that people got to be heard. And I'm so
Yeah.
excited to see your work, to see
Thank
where
you.
it brings you next. Because, like I said, your story needs to be told, and it needs to be
Thank you.
told on a very large platform. And so
Hmm.
you have given some great words of inspiration. And I
Thank
love
you.
that you said look at me now, and not even in an ignorant way, but just in a way to say, like, um, look at me still proving you wrong and chasing after the dreams that I'm called to. And I love that, Mateo. It has been such an inspiration to talk to you, to get to know you. I would
Thank
love
you.
to stay connected and see where you're going, and
Thank
have you
you.
back on this platform. And
I
if
would
you
love
could
that.
just
Yeah.
and if you could just close us out with maybe just one of your favorite quotes or a word of inspiration to somebody who's listening.
Absolutely. So I'll uh, that's a good question. I would say again, believe in yourself and work hard. That's my gift to all of you guys listening. Yeah.
I want to thank everybody for listening to this episode of Unmute Your Mic. Again, we were talking to Matteo from Canada, and I'm so, so happy that I got to talk to him. I'm so happy that you all got to hear his story. I'm going to put information below to stay connected with him. Please stay connected. He's inspirational. Check out what he's doing because there are big things to come. Matteo, thank you, thank you, thank you. It has been a true honor to have you on my platform today.
Thank you, Jessica. Nice to talk to you too.
Have a good night.
You too. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to Unmute Your Mic. Be sure to tune in next time when Jessica takes her mic off mute as she continues her journey to find stories that inspire and uplift our communities.